Hello everyone, it's Lottie from Enjoying the Journey, Cancer as a Lifestyle. So, how is everyone doing today? I am wearing my shawl that I won from Distinctive Crochet when she had her challenge. I love it. It's perfect for, like I would call it like a summer shawl because, you know, you don't need to, I have to lower this, you don't need to wear anything heavy. It's airy, see? So, anyway, let me show you the book I've been reading. This is Cal Ripken's Jr. Get in the Game. It's 8 elements of perseverance that make the difference. I am really enjoying this book. That's my bookmark. I am really enjoying this book. This book is awesome. It actually talks about endurance and perseverance and hard work and getting up every morning and just keep going, don't give up, and just, like I think he was talks a lot about that, a lot what this world right now needs, where people don't want to work, they give up easily, and I'm really enjoying it. He gives you a lot of tips, a lot of good, honest to goodness, old-fashioned values system, where we got up in the morning, we got dressed, we went to work, we worked hard, we stayed at the same companies, we did our job and to the best of our abilities, and when things were tough, we just, we kept going. We didn't quit. We just worked through it. And a really good book. I'm enjoying it a lot. So yeah, that's my latest one that I'm working on. The other thing is I have been binge watching, as you all know. I love to binge watch, and I love to watch the older videos of people. And not only because I want to get to know them, but yeah. But because I just, sometimes, you learn a lot. I love to see a lot of their old projects that they're working on. There's a lot of good stuff out there, and I think we only tend to watch the current videos, and when people have a library on their channel of different videos. And one of the things I like to see what kind of projects they were working on. And a lot of times, I do a lot of blankets. I do a lot of different crochet projects, and sometimes you get a little bored. You need something to do, something different. I mean, how many versions of a blanket can I make? I want to have something to pick me up in that. So I found, I also like to look at the old tags that they did, and I'm a tag person. I like to do tags. I think it just gets, you get to know each other a little better through a tag. So I found a tag. Oh, sorry about that. I'm putting my squares together. I didn't mean to do that, but it's almost falling off my, the blanket is getting so big, it's like, can't stay on your lap. But I found a tag, and I'm trying to remember whose was it. Was it from, did I get this one from Jane from Scraptastic? I am not sure whose channel it was but I wrote it down a while ago, and I was like, when I get a chance, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do it today. It's called the Unpopular Crochet Opinion Tag. So it's a pretty long name, right? But I'm going to do it. So number 1 is your worst yarn. I will tell you that I really don't have a worst yarn. Like a lot of people would choose probably the homespun. But I've worked with homespun. I don't mind working with homespun. I've worked with all different types of yarn because I just, whatever people want to donate to my ministry, I will use that yarn for something. But probably the one that it gives me the most headaches that when I work with it is super thin yarn. And I mean like thread-like yarn. There is really super thin yarns that like you make your doilies at, or like now, my curtains, I'm just dreading making these curtains because it is just going to be involving the super thin yarn. I just cringe at it because I always make a mess of it. I always end up getting a lot of barf yarn out of it because it gets so tangled. It's like you almost can't, like I pull on it, and that you almost can't do that with really thin yarn. You got to take it easy because it gets tangled up so easily, and that just irritates me. So that's probably the worst thing, that I just don't like to work with a lot of very super thin yarn, which goes into yarn barf. I always somehow end up, especially towards the end of the skein, which, my mom was really good at yarn buff. And when I would get donated yarn, a lot of times people just, who are not into crochet or knitting or anything, when they donate yarn that from their grandma's closet or something, or, they just take it, and if it's a mess or not. And so I'm used to getting a lot of, like, a bag full of messed up yarn. My mom is excellent at that. She can actually sit there and just play with it as she's talking to you, and the next thing you know, she put it into a ball neatly and all, and she just has that patience for it because she's not really thinking about what she's doing. She's talking and she's working on it. So she was really good at that for me. I will work it through, like I said, because I appreciate all yarn, because I know how much it costs. I know how fast you can go through it when you're working in a ministry and you're crocheting and donating to places. So I will take yarn barf or whatever. It does not matter. Do you wind it or not? I do not wind it into a ball, and I regret it every single time. There's something about, and another thing, I used to have a yarn winder, and I gave it away, and I regret it giving it away, because now I can really see when people donate the balls of yarn to me, it's just so much easier to work with than when I take a skein of yarn and I just pull from the middle. It's just so much easier to work it. And when you do not wind it, it gets into a tangled mess at the end, and I regret it every time. But yet somehow I don't seem to take the time to wind it. You see, so it's all on me. But I always regret not doing it. But I always say I'm going to do it, then I don't do it. I'm always in a rush. Scraps. I love scraps. There is absolutely not any kind of scrap that you could give me that I would not love. I love scraps. There is something so magical to me about scraps. I love digging into a bag of just unused yarn, and I know there's many people out there that hate that. If they don't have a full skein, excuse me. Sorry, here's Casey, Alabama. I don't know what it is about my feet, but they all just lay at my feet. And their mama's at work, and they all come up here and they lay at my feet, and then every time I move, and I can't move anyway because they're all sprawled out right here by my feet, and if I move, they're just playing with my feet all the time. Kitten love. But I love scraps. You don't know what to do with your scraps? Send them to me. I will love that. Although a lot of people don't like that, and the thrift store the senior center thrift store, they have tons of scraps and nobody wants it. So when I go in and I take the whole lot, they are so appreciative. Oh Lord. Store options. Well, let me tell you, when I started out, I did not know anything. To me, it was just, I didn't know. YouTube taught me a lot. And I did not know anything about hooks. I did not know anything about the, yarn bowls or, all these accessories that come with it. I did not know anything. I just would go and shop at Walmart because Walmart had the cheapest yarn that I could find. I thought all those stores, like Joann's and Hobby Lobby and all of them, that they were just expensive for yarn. And Red Heart was cheaper at that time than anywhere else. And then they raised the prices, and now they're no different. But I didn't know anything about, like, the clearance sales. I didn't know about all those coupons that you can get. I did not know all of these things until I came on YouTube, and I would watch and I would learn from all the other channels. Like, oh wow, this is what I should be doing, And so my all-time favorite store is Hobby Lobby. But I actually, because I love scraps and all, I look at thrift stores. I look at all of that because I love the scraps. And it's hard to get scraps. You have to look at all the garage sales and things like that. But Hobby Lobby is my all-time favorite. I feel like their clearance is better than any other clearance, and I will wait all year for that clearance. Michael's is probably my second best favorite store for yarn. The only complaint I have with them is that they're always so messy. All their yarn aisles are such a mess, and it's so disorganized. I just don't know why they can't or get themselves organized. I don't know what it is, but it's always looks like it's been shoveled through, looked through, sifted through, and it's just a mess. And but I do like their yarn. I used to buy a lot of their Craft Smart when it was in large balls. You know, the what is it, the 1 pounders that they have. I don't think they even do all those, but they used to have all different kinds, and they used to have great sales on those. So I do like Michael's. I haven't been there in a while, but that was my only complaint. Joann's, I have, like I said, I had a personal issue with one of the sales lady that went by my Joann's that was so pushy, and I just didn't like that. I would avoid going there. If I saw she was in there, I would not go in there because she was just so pushy. Like, leave me the heck alone. I just couldn't take it. But Joann's, I didn't have that much of a. I just feel like even when they mark down their prices, it's not even that. Like, I can get it cheaper somewhere else. But you know, I don't know. Maybe I just don't know how to do it right. So I don't know. Thin yarn, chunky yarn. I don't have a lot of experience with chunky yarn. It's just something that has not. I've not had large donations of. Recently, I received a stash from an old creator who used to do her own patterns. So I received her stash. She had a lot of chunky yarn in there. But normally, that's not something that I would buy for the ministry, only because I had so much money that I could spend for the ministry, and I wanted my buck to go last a longer. And to me, chunky yarn, you don't get much in a skein, and it does not go a long way. I used to love to get the big 1 pounder, you know, because they would go a longer way and they were cheaper. Thin yarn also, like I said, is that issue that I have, but I will buy it if it's on sale. I will get it. I will work it. There's no yarn that I will not use. Expensive yarns. Expensive yarns. I am in love with cakes and hanks, and I love them, and I have quite a bit up here that I bought you know, for specific projects, and I just not done much with them. I love them. When I think of the ministry and I think about the cost efficiency and how much money I can spend, I don't think of that as something that I can use. Well, I could use, but just when you think about the cost and what I can make with one hank and how much I can take that money and how many skeins I can buy of other yarn. So for personal use, expensive yarn, yes, I could. But I do have some, and I bought some, and I have some for specific projects in the future, but right now I'm just admiring them. Items that are or are not usable. Well, you know, I used to, I don't really know how to answer that, but I will tell you, items that are or are not usable. I used to have one of my ladies in the ministry when I was in Chicago. Um, she would crochet, and I always let my ladies crochet whatever they felt like crocheting. I never limited them because I know how crojo is. If you are not, if you, you know, you may be tired of making blankets. Sometimes you need you know, I've made 200 hats. I just don't want to see another hat. You know, so I let them make whatever they wanted to make, and then I would just I would take these items and I would find a home for them. But I used to have a lady that would really take that like another step, and she would like crochet like things that, you know, it was very limited about where I could send it. So I used to like look at her like, you know, and she liked to make these things. Like she would make, you know, baby pants, you know, or those, what do you call those, you know, over your diaper. What do you call that? I don't even know, like, you know, shorts or whatever. I don't remember the word for it. Like, you know, she would make baby clothes and like, you know, or rompers or something, but like, where am I going to donate that? You know, it's very, where she would use yarn that is, you know, you have to be careful with wool. You have to be careful with, you know, yarn that people are allergic to. So I do not use that type of yarn to donate, because you don't know who this is going to. You don't know if they're allergic to it or not. And you know what? A lot of people don't even know the difference. They don't know how to take care of something like that. Some of these yarns like that. So when she would make some of these things, I kind of had to have a talk, like, I can't really, I see it's beautiful and all, but good Lord, I can't really use it for the ministry. Do you know what I mean? So that's only things like that. But otherwise, I've made almost everything. We've made all sorts of things. We made throw pillows that I found a home for and all. But yeah, that's why a lot of these projects that I join, it has to be something. These make-alongs has to be something that I will use, for my ministry or for my home. I don't like to make things that I can't, just because I'm joining a make-along. I need to have a purpose for it, because everything I do is like for the ministry. I know this doesn't sound crochet. Okay, so fun yarns. I do not know what to do with fun yarns, and I get quite a bit of fun yarn. And I am kind of a loss for them. I know that certain fun yarns are used mostly for amigurumis, I think, or dolls, for eyelashes and things like that. I really am always at a loss at what to do with them. So mostly I'll put it like around the border for a blanket, or I'll use it as a border for the hat or something like that. But I really don't have, and I get a lot of that. I get a lot of that fun yarn that is like fur yarn, or I just don't know what to do with it, really. So I'm very limited in what I do with that. Losing my crojo. I very rarely have lost my crojo. I am experiencing lately where I don't want to crochet on the go. I always have some yarn in my bag that I take with me, whether I'm in the waiting room or I'm at work and it's lunchtime, or sit in my car waiting for someone. I always have some, and I just been carrying that yarn around, and I am not doing anything. I just don't want to do it. Where I go to someone's house and we're just having coffee and I'll crochet with them, I just have not had that desire, and it's been sitting in my bag. So the other day I had to take that yarn out, and I was like, I better finish it, just like in general, because I'm never going to get that thing done if I use it for my on-the-go bag. So yeah, I that's the only time I've experienced, some lost my crojo. Is crocheting cheap to you? I think by far, it's probably if you compare it to other hobbies, and I've watched a lot of different channels, and I watch a lot of different channels like scrapbooking and, crafting of all sorts. Yarn to me is probably the cheaper thing to do for me. Now I know there's people that go way out and they buy everything, and they go way out with equipment and all that. I tend to, for me, it's probably the cheaper thing to do. If I was crafting, or if I was scrapbooking, if I was doing diamond painting, or if I was painting, or anything in general, I think all the accessories that you have to buy to make that work, to do a great job, all the accessories that you have to buy, I think it would add up and be very expensive. So, but I had a very good friend who has passed away, and she's done scrapbooking, and she did very frugally, and the things that she had done and used is incredible, that she would just recycle into crafting and make her own embellishments and things like that. So it can be, I think it's however expensive you want it to be. All I need is a skein of yarn and a hook, and I'll be content. Whereas somebody else may need a yarn bow, they need a yarn winder, they need a ball winder, they may want to dye their own yarn, they may want to spin their own yarn, they may want to do all sorts of things. And I am content with just that. So for me, it is quite inexpensive. But anyway, you guys, it's getting on really long. If you want to do this tag, I will try to put these questions in there and down in the description, and participate and join in if you want to do one, just so it's something different. I love doing tags, so if you are just, you know, you're looking for a tag or looking for new projects, check out some of the old videos of your favorite channels. And some of them are good, you know, from 2 years ago or more. You know, some people have been on YouTube for a long time and they have a lot of good videos that you probably didn't even get to see yet. So anyway, have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.